Hey guys, Professor Bell, Comic Book University, an Incredible Hulk, issue number 28, 2025. There are two more issues left of this series, and then we turn to the Infernal Hulk. I'm looking forward to seeing how infernal the Infernal Hulk can get. But we already have a good idea of what's going to happen because this is a very new issue right here. In fact, this issue starts the Requiem Plan, Part 1. There can only be 2 or 3 issues of that, right? After that, it gets infernal. Let's get into all that good stuff. First, let's talk about who made this comic book. So we got the Requiem Plan Part 1, Philip Kennedy Johnson on writing, Adam Gorham doing the art, Matthew Wilson, color art, VC's Corey Petit on letters, and Nick Klein doing the cover art. Bunch of variant covers out there. Enjoy them all. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the Hulk. So we start off with Hulk underwater holding his breath, and I guess it's to black out. It's weird because Hulk is supposed to be able to gather to make gills on his neck. I'm okay if they took that away because I think that was a really dumb power, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, he winds up blacking out, but smiling. He's happy. Maybe he's trying to kill himself. Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. And then he wakes up and he's someplace completely different. He's shocked, like, what's going on? And then he sees that Banner had written something to the effect of "Go find Jericho Drum." Okay, cool, man. Dr. Voodoo, protect Dr. Voodoo. That's what it was. So all of this has to do with an earlier issue that I haven't read, but the gist of it is, because they give it to me here, that Jericho Drum, Dr. Voodoo, put something, a protection, a ward on Banner, not Hulk, Banner. And that's the reason why the mother of monsters isn't able to mess with him. That's cool. Interesting. Now you start to see that seal slowly but surely breaking. And we wind up getting Daniel Drum, Dr. Voodoo's brother, coming after him. A certain ally returns who I actually remember way back in issue, I think it was 9 and 10, they said. I was reading the stories back then. And, interesting, something weird happened. Look, I don't want to get too much into exactly all the nitty gritty of what happens, but some sad parts happen in this book. Also, some really wild parts. We're going to see Betty again. And it's something of a surprise how that happens. An old friend, or not a friend, is mentioned again. There's a whole lot about to happen soon. And you see all of it reforming right here in this issue. Guys, if you haven't been reading the Incredible Hulk, as I haven't for a while, I came back in the previous issue and I fell in love with that story. I cried a bit during that story. It was really freaking sad. I forgot Philip Kennedy Johnson has that superpower, that super villain power. But nonetheless, it's not my fault. I wound up living next. Somebody grew an onion field next to me, took down everything else and put an onion field there. Anyway, so yeah, that. This book, the art, out of control good. Really fantastic scene, like the Hulk with his long hair blowing in a breeze that sometimes doesn't exist. Sometimes a breeze made from the shock waves of destruction going around him. There's a lot of fighting in this, not a lot of talking, not by the Hulk at least. I didn't appreciate, I don't know, when I stopped reading comics for a while, I didn't appreciate even the good comics. There were a lot of times like, maybe this is the book that gets me back into comics. Turns out no book was going to get me back into comics, into reading comics again full time. I just needed to rest. I needed to kind of get away from all the other stuff that they were giving us because there was such a hodgepodge of stuff getting thrown. Sometimes it was decent. Sometimes it was just stuff that I don't really want to talk about or ever thinking about again, right? I just wanted to enjoy some good comics, not something with an agenda, not something with some nonsense, not something with some secret message that's actually not so secret and I'm going to make you a better person and let's virtue signal. No, F you. Virtue signaling is the most ridiculous thing in the world to me because it is the laziest form of doing good. No, I'm not interested. I think in general, people are good, and that's good enough. As far as comic books are supposed to be that great escape. Comic books are supposed to be that thing where you take a step back and you say, the rest of the world, all the problems, the crazy things that I just don't like, the things that just they're too overwhelming for me. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to read this world of fantasy. I think the last thing people need are this horrible way of bringing politics and all these things into stories. I think those people need to start finding a new day job because I couldn't even enjoy good series like this. I'm recalling that one of the things that I loved about this book, but I couldn't really put my finger on it, was that Hulk was a monster again. I may have even said that a couple of times. Hulk is literally that monster who doesn't talk a whole lot, but when he does, it's serious. It matters. It cannot be easy to write like this. I don't know that I could write like this, but I know I don't have to. I got Philip Kennedy, PKJ. I got PKJ. I had to like visualize it. I got PKJ to do that for me, right? Saying the names of people with three full names, like, aren't those people usually assassins, right? The guy who shot Reagan, the guy who shot Martin Luther King Jr., so it's technically four names. So just Reverend, there's titles. Anyway, yeah, all of those people. There's Lee Harvey Oswald, all those three named people, right? But we all like the one named people, Madonna, Prince, right? Sting, that's what I'm saying. Hulk. Look, I'm saying what I'm saying. This book felt like what Hulk was originally meant to be, built to be, designed to be. This is the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby creation. They created the Hulk. And what Jim Shooter came along and said, hey guys, rest his soul. And September, right? Next month, next week in comic books will be the next month for comic books. We should see a big Jim Shooter tribute for the whole month. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those books where it feels like something that we can stand behind, we can get behind, we can just sit down and read, have an escape. All the good stuff that we've enjoyed before. The stuff that for crying out loud, Al Ewing did. The stuff that, Steve Buscemi drew. Sal Buscemi. Anyway, could you imagine Buscemi doing Hulk? All the stuff, Roy Thomas, Len Wein, all the greats doing these incredible stories. This is the return that we have right now. This is some of the best reading you're going to get because it's Hulk reacting to the world around him and ultimately just really wanting to be left alone. Hulk is supposed to be that guy who screws up a good thing, or he screws up a bad thing and makes it even worse, right? He is that out of the frying pan into the fire character. It's very rare to get someone who's actually able to put that together, to make it look like that. My point is, this book is probably the definitive Hulk right now. Very similar to the Immortal Hulk. Spaceship Hulk never happened. All right? Donny Cates, get well. I love you to death, brother. Take all the time you need. Come back and become the greatest in comic books again. We got Hulk. We got the Hulk. We got characters being treated well, the way that you would have wanted to have them. And here we go. This is one of the definitive versions of Hulk. We will always go back and point to, be old and grayer, and sit back and be like, hey, what are the good Hulk comics to read? Who are the good writers? We can sit back, lean back on our rocking chair, and this is one of the comics that we can comment on. Hulk didn't talk too much, but man, he said a novel's worth. Guys, make sure you grab this comic book. Like I said, 3 more issues, and the Abomination is supposed to return soon. 3 more issues until we go Infernal. And I get the feeling you're not going to want to start with Infernal. So this is the jumping on point. It's good enough. You can figure out what you need to figure out by reading the preamble in this, the foreword, and then you're good to go. Make sure you grab this. Also, on your way out, don't forget to like the video and watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.